There's a lot of controversy around the difficulty of Final Fantasy XIV. Is it too easy? Is it too hard? Are jobs too simple now? Well, I have some good news. I have a way to ignore all of those questions and feel completely confident in your choice to do so. The best part is, it's super easy. They made a whole job for you. Hello friends and neighbors, and welcome to my channel. I'm Paul Henderson, and today we have probably the easiest video I'll make in this entire series, which is fitting given that this is the easiest job in the game besides Summoner. This is episode 4 of a surprisingly consistent series where I break down. Sorry, there's more words in the script. Where I break down my opinions on every job in Final Fantasy XIV after the lengthy process of getting them all to max level, and then doing literally anything else for a few months. For more information and context on this video, check out the other videos in the YI series playlist on my channel. Today, I'm talking about the job that got me properly started on my process to leveling everything to max, and taught me that there's more to life than causing pain: White Mage. In terms of motivation this early on in my leveling process, White Mage is probably the easiest to explain. I had a DPS maxed, I had a tank maxed, what was I missing? Healer. Boom. Done. Level a healer. Which healer was just about as easy. Compared to tanking, I was absolutely terrified to heal. In my mind, I had assumed healing was the highest pressure role. You die, everyone dies. You slip and lose your focus for a second, everyone dies. I don't know why I thought like that, it really wasn't that deep. Due to a combination of fears around job complexity and an eternal case of hipster brain rot, the only realistic choices were between White Mage and Scholar, and even then it really wasn't much of a choice. I'm a fake Final Fantasy series fan. I've only played 7 and 15 all the way through, and I played most of 13, and I knew White Mage was one of the classic Final Fantasy jobs. Furthermore, I knew White Mage had a borderline infamous reputation for being super easy, and as a new healer, I felt like I needed that. So, being the fake fan I am, and wanting the lazy way out, off I went. Now, on to the question of this video. Why do I still main White Mage to this day? If you've seen the last couple videos, you may have noticed a trend by now. I started Final Fantasy XIV as a Lancer, I now main Dragoon. The first tank I maxed was Dark Knight, now I main Dark Knight. Now White Mage is my first leveled healer, and I main White Mage. I think the reason for this is pretty obvious. A lot of people tend to just stick with what they know out of habit, and due to learning it first, ease of use just comes more naturally overall. But of course, there is a unique factor for White Mage which drives me to this particular job. This job in particular is just so easy, man. Easy to the point where, if I needed to heal something, I genuinely have a hard time justifying picking any other job over White Mage. The only reason I don't feel comfortable outright calling it the easiest job in the game is because 1, Summoner and Viper exist, and 2, healing is still a dynamic role that requires a bit more focus than DPS. So that's it. That's the whole reason I main White Mage. It's easy. But what is easy? Bonzi77, Paul here. Difficulty means different things to different people. In a previous video, I discussed how I am a hardcore casual player. That means I don't play a ton of difficult content, but I play a lot of easier content like roulettes and normal raids. At this point, I could pretty easily play Astrologian in any non-extreme plus level of content to at least a competent degree, if maybe not the most efficient one. However, for me, White Mage is easy at the end of the day because of its simplicity. There's no cards to juggle, no complex barriers to manage, no fairies to eat. I'm just a boy and his simple staff of healing. There are a lot of claims that Final Fantasy XIV overall is too easy. I don't actually agree with this on its face. The bigger issue I think that Final Fantasy XIV has is with content difficulty pacing and content scaling. Even with level sync, players still wildly outpace older content, making it easier as time goes on. In addition, the game's mechanics take quite a while in casual content to get anywhere near what I would personally consider not incredibly easy in the main scenario questline. For me, that's Shadowbringers, but your mileage may vary. However, when I play White Mage, I basically only have to focus on 3 things: damage over time effect uptime, party health bars, and mechanics. This clears up how much stuff I have to keep tabs on at once, fighting game players may know this concept as the mental stack, and definitionally allows me to handle content more easily. So, I think in essence, I don't just play White Mage because it's easy. I play White Mage when I don't want to care about how hard the content I'm facing is. Is that bad? Am I lazy? Do I have enough dignity to main a healer that actually challenges me at a baseline level? No, yes, and no. Sometimes easy is good. Great even. Not everything needs to be a terrible slog to learn to play effectively. Don't worry, later on in this series we'll have a couple nice long conversations about when job design being too simple and easy is problematic. And that'll be a fun conversation. However, I think that on a simple, yet potentially active, and definitively vital role like healer, having a job that just kinda handles itself in most content is not only good, but essential to the player base's ecosystem. As long as the game's design is going to call for healing, somebody needs to be able to do it, and do it easily. And if somebody's gotta heal, well, may as well be me. That's all I have to say about White Mage in this video, and is the last video that I have planned about my mains in Final Fantasy XIV. However, I have other videos planned past this about the other jobs in Final Fantasy XIV, so if you're interested in hearing about those, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and tell me a comment about which job you're most interested in hearing about next. Now, join me next time when we crank up the difficulty and explain why I am so intimidated by playing Monk. Thanks for watching. Ugh, get me out. Fucking sweaty in there.